Hello, welcome to another Dansky Live. We actually started on time today. We're going to start as we mean to go on, and I'm super excited for this one. So thank you to everyone for joining today. I'm really enjoying this streaming business at the moment. This is a lot of fun. Hello to everybody in the chat. Hopefully I fixed the audio today, so it should be coming out of the left and the right speakers. Pretty basic stuff, but I'm learning. Welcome back, Stubers, Graphic Up, Error Solver Tech, Sema Video Maker, Yasmin, Tanya, Emad, Zain. Oh my goodness, so many people. I feel privileged that you decided to spend the next hour or two listening to me babble on, and we're just going to hang out. We're going to work on some logo design, and this is going to be really fun because this is kind of a continuation from Monday's stream, where I went through a bunch of designs that you guys kindly submitted, and there was one that stood out to me as having a really cool idea combining the words fire and ice, but I felt that the execution needed more work. I started playing around, and that's exactly what you can see on screen. And today we're going to try and flesh this out in a bit more detail because I feel like there's a really cool idea there. Will we get it all done in the next hour or two? I've got no idea, but we're going to see what happens. And hopefully if you guys have got any ideas, input, bang that into the chat, and hopefully together we can create something that looks pretty cool. As always, if you've got any questions, feel free to ask them, and I'll try and keep one eye on the screen and one eye on the chat as we go along. Whew, okay. So, this was the original logo here, and the person who sent this in, I can't remember their name off the top of my head, but they tried to combine the words fire and ice, and myself and many others didn't actually see the word ice. I think people with a keen eye would have seen both, but I didn't see it, and I gave a few suggestions how we could combine these together, and this is as far as I got. Just a bit of fun, but we're going to switch over to a nice blank document now, and we're going to work on some ideas. So first of all, we could go and pick a font, but we're not going to do that. We're going to jump straight into the pen tool, and I'm going to start drawing some lines. Let's thicken this up just so I can see what I'm doing. And then duplicate this out. Let's rotate. And we'll pop this up here. Now, I would love to be doing this with a graphics tablet because I could sketch out these ideas much more freely, but I've got no available USB ports. So I'm stuck with a mouse. So we're just going to have to make it work. Okay, so I'm just going to sketch out some letters. We'll do this really quickly. Fire, we've got an R. If you don't know, my style is very kind of clean lines, geometric. That's my game. So let's just quickly create an R, not like that. We'll bring this over here and extend this out. There we go, something like that. And I'm just going to pen tool in that bit there, and then we're going to just be a bit cheeky and generate an E from the F. So what I'm going to do is try and recreate this initial concept here. This was obviously very, very rough and slightly terrible, but I don't know, maybe there's an interesting idea there. First thing I'm going to need are some guides or rulers. So let's get those up. And we'll throw something down. Right. Let's zoom in. I don't need to be too precise at this stage because we're really just experimenting with ideas, but it's kind of being precise is in my DNA, so I have to do it. Like it's literally part of who I am. I'm obsessed with detail, so let's start as we mean to go on. We'll line that up there. You can see I've got my smart guides turned on, which is very helpful. Another nifty trick as well is to select these two elements here and just snap to top, because I've already lined up this top part of the F, and we don't need to manually eyeball this one here. We can work with a little bit more precision than that. And if you've ever thought about designing your own typeface, then this is one way you can go about it. So we've got that there. And we're going to snap this to the top as well. And apologies if I do start singing. I'm in a bit of a singing mood today. I can't sing, but yeah, I will try and spare you, but I can't make any promises. Right, another nifty trick. Select all 3 of these parts of the E here, not this part down the left. And we can distribute those. Not like that, actually. That's not what I was trying to do at all. Oops. Let's try that again. Hang on. Hold up. Did I click the right one there? Oh, interesting. Oh, I see what's happening. So you can see I'm selecting the guides there. So what we need to do is we need to go and lock those. They're normally locked by default. So let's... yep, they're definitely locked now. So if I select these 3 lines, I should be able to space those equally apart. There you go. Right. There we go. So we're just really quickly doing this. Boom. Fire. And I've kind of got this idea that I want to get rid of this part. As you can see in this design here, I did kind of leave that off. So I want to do something like this. And obviously this is this looks a bit rubbish, a bit wonky at the moment. So what I typically like to do is just draw boxes, fill them with the same color as the background, and it kind of hides that bottom edge and just keeps it looking nice and clean. So there we go. That could be a logo, but there's not a lot of fire in there, and certainly no ice at all. But let's just zoom out. That's a really nifty trick if you want to kind of kern your letters correctly. The kerning is the spacing between individual letters. This is a bit off. So let's try and balance the space in between each of these. I think that looks okay. Maybe a little bit there. I mean, I could obsess over this for a very long time, but I'm not going to. Cool. Another little detail. You don't have to do this, but make sure these 2 line up. They almost do. So let's just snap those to the top. So they're perfect. And then this part of the R here, you could try and get that to line up as well. But I want this to be a bit bigger, and I want this part of the R to be a little bit shorter. I don't want it to be too long. So I'm pretty happy with that. What we'll do now is we'll just duplicate this here. Good evening, Kieran Rana. Thank you so much for joining again. Stubers, sing for me. Absolutely not. If you're lucky, maybe. We'll see. Stubers. Your F and E are different widths. Yes, they are. They absolutely are. But we're not worrying too much about that now. We're just kind of really playing around with the idea. But seeing as you did mention that, let's fix it. We'll fix it now. Because let's be honest, I'll probably forget. And you can align individual anchor points as well. So that's a nifty little trick there. F and E the same width, and I've added a gap here between these bits. I really need to have like a pin-up thing with typography terms because I just can never remember them. It's not the crossbar, but whatever these lines are, I always forget. I don't need to know these things. I just look at the thing. Does it work? Yeah, no, cool. So I'm gonna have a gap there, and then I've got this part removed here as well, and I quite like this. Now, do I keep this gap the same width as all the text for a bit more consistency? Maybe that. Probably looks a bit too far, but we'll leave that there for now. So we've got a couple of variations here. We've got a couple of variations, and we can then play around with the length of this. We could connect that over here. So it kind of connects to the eye. Sort of looks a bit weird, but hey, it's fine. We'll leave that there for now. This isn't obviously fire or ice or anything. This is just something that I really wanted to explore because I feel like this could look pretty cool, even if it doesn't technically combine anything. This type of logo, this minimal design style with use of negative space is really up my street, and yeah, I had to give this one a go. But in terms of fire, combining the word fire and ice, let's have another go. And this time we'll try and use the words ice. Well, this is going to be quite easy to start with because we've got an I and an E here already. So there we go. That's 66% done. And now we need a letter C. Now, I could do that. Nope, that's terrible. Something like this. Could look cool. Of course, I think this C is a bit wide now. When you look at this compared to the other letters, it feels a bit too wide. We could squish it in, but then absolutely not. No, we're not going to do that. I think if I started doing that, all the designers in the chat are going to scream at me. So we're not going to do that. Sometimes certain characters will have different widths. You've got your M's and your W's. They are naturally going to be wider. But I don't know. I feel like in this instance, I'm not sure. It feels a little bit too wide. So what we'll do is we'll use the F again. God, this is a lazy designer right here. And we'll use that. Now let's connect these up. And the reason I like reusing elements that I've already done is because I've already put a bit of time into making sure these are pretty precise in terms of their height. And by reusing these elements, they also have the same width as well. So whoever made the comment about width, you've just saved me a bit of time. Thank you very much. Now I'm just connecting these corner points up with Command or Control J. And now, because I've connected them, what I can do... Oh no, I've complicated everything now. Okay, you can see here, if I grab this with the direct selection tool, we've got two anchor points directly on top of each other. The way to get around this is to select one, use the arrow key to nudge it out. I'm going to get rid of this one, delete, and use the arrow key to nudge this back in. And you might be thinking, well, Dan, you've lost your line, but actually there is an anchor point just sat over here on its own. A random anchor point, and if I connect these up, it brings back the line. Unfortunately, in Illustrator, there isn't a way to merge multiple anchor points into one. You could do that in Blender, but not in Illustrator. Same story over here, so we'll just nudge one of those out, delete that one, we'll nudge this back in, find that lost little anchor point on its own, and then Command or Control J to connect it up. And now you can see we've removed those duplicates. And the reason that that's important is because now I can select this with the direct selection tool, and then I can round off these corners. When you've got two anchor points on top of each other, you can't round off the corners. So we could go for something like that for a C. We could do this, we could do this, or we could just have it completely squared off. But I think because it's a letter C, do I want it square? That doesn't look like a C really. We could go for something like this, in fact. And here's a nice little tip for consistency, is I like to try and identify other parts of my design. So we've got this radius here, 86.2858, which is this corner here. So then if I select both of these, double click them, and then paste in that value, the corner radius of the C is going to match the R. And it's just those tiny little details for consistency that I like adhering to. Okay, so we've got two words, fire and ice. They're still not combined, but at least now we can get a look at how they could potentially work. Let's make sure the word ice is on top of everything. Game Boy says, please make me your student. I need to be your student. You can be my student. Actually, while I think of it, that's a really good point. Thank you for mentioning that. If you'd like to learn everything that I know about Adobe Illustrator with 6 hours of video, there is a link to my course. It teaches everything I know about Illustrator and there is a private student community. So if you ever have any questions or anything, you can just send me a direct message and I will help you with any problems. Right. Now I think for this one I might actually move these back in, because I think trying to combine the words fire and ice is going to be challenging enough as it is. Why are you so red? Because I have an orange light up there in the corner. Yeah, so this is going to be pretty challenging anyway. So I think I'm going to add, remove rather, the gaps between these parts of the letters and then focus really on how I'm going to combine this. So let's try and, well, first of all, let's grab the R and the C. Let's see what we can do with this. Could I link this like that? Oh, this is going to be tricky. Fire and ice. Could do that. Something like that maybe. And but the word ice would then need to be really small. So I don't know how that's going to work. Yeah, it's quite tricky. Trying to get something clever. Now I did mention in the last stream that maybe using 2 colors would be one way. So if I go and make the word fire, make that red for now, and then we'll make the word ice, we'll make that blue. So one thing I did suggest, whether it will work or not, I don't know, is trying to do something like this. And then we could try and interlink the letters. So I could have certain letters overlapping other letters. And by the way, if you have any ideas yourself for how to combine the words fire and ice in a really nice, seamless way, then please feel free to drop those in the chat. Popinder, got to take the boys to drama club, be back in a bit. All right, those are my kids. They're off to drama. So yeah, have fun, boys. Thank you, Popinder. Which program is better for website design? Figma. Just Figma. Just use Figma. I've been using it recently a lot more, and it's fantastic. It's just brilliant. For the design side of things, anyway. Okie dokie. Right. Yeah, see, this is the problem. When we've got these letters here that are the same, how do you make... You're going to have to like offset it somehow. Unless I did something like that, which is quite similar to the original design, where they kind of had the C and the R connecting. You see here? They tried to combine the C and the R into one shape. Could that work? It's difficult with the E, because now the E just doesn't look like it's offset. It's wonky. If I could get the E up, like up alongside everything else, yeah, maybe that could work. Let's give ourselves a bit more room here. Oh, this is a challenge. I do love this though. Double E, I'm not sure. You can see the predicament. I think that is the big challenge here about getting this all on one line, is trying to add and remove bits and pieces from different parts to try and make it look like make the blue and the red both look like an E. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? Is this even possible, or am I just kind of wasting time here? I don't know. Stuba says Figma for designing, not coding. Yes, absolutely. If you're a designer who loves you'd like to be able to create your own website with zero code, but you want full control over exactly how it looks, I can't recommend Webflow enough. That's not sponsored or anything. Like, it's just a great platform, and that's what I use for Dansky.com. You just got all the design tools, and you don't have to know how to code. So it's super helpful. Right. What we thinking? I'm just going to burst out into song in a minute. I do apologize. Stubers, you're going to get what you want. Right. I don't know. Separate R curve like this, says Deadman. R curve. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Bracket. I'm not sure I understand. Bracket. Separate the R curve. Don't know. Maybe that's a bit better. Oh, this is difficult. I feel like this E at the end is the real problem. If I'm not going to offset everything, this E is being a pain in the bum. Unless I do go back to offsetting these. Which isn't as clever as being able to combine them into the same thing pretty seamlessly, but it will work. Add the white lines in between the C and R, Noaz says. Add the white lines in between the C and the R. I do not understand. Add white lines. Let's try and make you a bit smaller. What about if I make this one smaller as well? Have a little E. There we go. That might work. Oh, I don't know. That's difficult. That is difficult trying to combine those. We'll put a pin in that for now. And we'll try something different. I do quite like where this is going. So again, I'm going to grab this. And we'll do something. This is pretty obvious, this one. But I'm just going to see. We could do like a flame, something like that. Let's make the color black and thicken it up. So that could work potentially. And then another way to stretch that up be something like this. So this will work as the dot on the eye. It's not the most creative idea. It is somewhat predictable, but if I can get this with a nice tidy execution and we have a custom designed font as well, it could look pretty cool. Let's bring this down. So yeah, we'll turn that into a little match and we'll pin that as another idea. Make fire blue and ice red. Ooh, controversial, Vincent. We need a whiteboarding session. Yes, we do. Maybe that's what we need, where everyone could just join in and draw scribbles and things and throw ideas at me and hopefully not draw things that are inappropriate that get me completely demonetized and kicked off YouTube. Okay. Anyway, where was I? Right. Flame. Let's go. Let's do another shape. We'll experiment with some flame shapes. Let's try and do something fiery. See what we come up with. There we go. And I think I did have the other idea. You see, we've got half and half here. We got a. Oh no, that's like the Tinder logo, isn't it? Someone said that last time. Hang on, let me look at the Tinder logo. I've got no idea what it looks like. Oh no, it's a bit different. It's like Tinder meets TikTok. I mean, let's try and stay away from that as much as possible. Thanks, Ayush. I appreciate that. What about having the word fire in italic or the word ice in sans serif? Oh, okay. Okay. Come on then. Come on then. Let's give it a go. We will give it a go. So, all right, first of all, I've got to make sure I select all of the right pieces. There we go. Boom. Do. Right. That's one of my thinking noises that I make, by the way. Do. Okay, italic. Well, because I've custom drawn this, I do not have the option to make it italic, but I can use the shear tool. And with this selected, I can press return. And we could shear this by, let's go for 15 degrees. Something like that. Ooh, that E could look quite nice. Sheared. But then it's, where's it gonna go? I mean, the whole thing at that kind of angle would look pretty cool as well, actually. But again, I think shearing it doesn't really solve the problem. It's the E. The E is the problem. How do you make two E's sit on top of each other but look like one part of one word and part of another? You could make half of the E Akshay, that's it. That's the kind of idea I need. Half the E red and half the E blue. Let's try that. Because the goal really is it needs to look like an E for the word ice and an E for the word fire. It might be completely impossible, but I don't like to think that. I don't like to think it's impossible. I think somewhere over the rainbow, no, somewhere there is a design that is going to work. We've just got to find it. Right, let's try this. Mirror, cough. Cut it in half. Right, okay. E. Actually, you might be onto something here. You might be onto a winner. Right, let's put you back over there. Get these ones up. I think I might go back. Yeah. Right, let's move this over here. I just need to change that to match the background. Okay, does that look like fire and ice? Oh, that is difficult, that is. Okay. Slightly tilted cut. That could look quite nice. That would make it a bit more original. Lowercase e, reverse the last e. Reverse the last e. Yeah, we could. Now it's red on top versus red on the side. Yeah. Oh. I mean, another thing we could try. By the way, this is how I work. I just kind of duplicate, and make iterations. What we could do is just add a bit of a space between the different lines. I don't know if that's gonna really do anything, but worth a try. I feel like that's better. I feel like adding that gap definitely makes them look like different characters now, whereas before, especially the C and the R, they were kind of just rubbing up against each other and it wasn't working. I don't know, maybe I need to actually make this look more like an R. Maybe that's the problem, is the R is already pretty abstract in its style. So it kind of needs that gap, possibly. Stubers is yelling mirror. Oh, mirror! Do you mean like vertically? Hang on. Okay. I got you, mate. Sorry. Right. Come on, let's all calm down. Mirror, mirror, mirror. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the worst designer of them all? Me. Right. No, I'm just kidding. I'm great. I'm a solid 4 out of 10. Solid 4. Right. We could try this. This could be interesting. In fact, it might have been you, sir, who suggested this mirror idea in the last stream. Ooh. Oh, ho, ho. Might be onto something. It's not overlapping. It's not the infinitely super clever idea that I was going for, but it could be something there. It looks a bit like Ronaldo's brand logo. Oh, goodness. Hang on. Let's have a look at that. Ronaldo logo. What? You mean Cristiano Ronaldo, the footballer? No, it doesn't. It doesn't look anything like that. God, you scared me then. Okay. Whew, don't do that to me. What about the eye being split top and bottom? Maybe. If we're going to separate the E, I suppose, yeah, we could try and stop this whole double eye thing going on. Let's try that. I mean, I gotta be honest, I'm not really getting either word there. I'm not seeing fire, I'm not seeing ice. If anything, actually, when I first look at this, I'm seeing the word fiber somehow. You know, we're one letter away from the word fiber. And I think the problem is the F and the R are completely their own thing. The C is its own thing. The I and the E look like this kind of mishmash of letters that I fudged together. But this one's kind of interesting. This one is interesting. And, you know, even if the letters don't overlap in this super clever way, I do quite like this type of style in my logo where I'm able to line words and letters up where they actually sort of fit together quite nicely. You know, so if the I was, let's say, left aligned, I would try and line the C up with that, and then I would try and line the E up with the R. And so if you can make those kind of connections and line things up, it you know, it's something that I personally quite like. And sometimes it's a bit of a happy accident, you know, you don't mean to do it, and then it's like, oh, whoops, there we go. Kind of like how my kids existed. Haha. Right. Let's bring this up. I mean, I don't know if it's going to work in one color, but let's see. Don't know. Might need a slight gap. How do you make a type into a stroke path? Claudio says. I haven't found an easy way to do this, unfortunately. I've tried a few different methods, but the results haven't been great. Hopefully I understand what you're asking is if let me type a word, blah, 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 blah. Sausages. Let's make that bigger. How do I turn this? If I convert this to outlines, you can see it's a shape with a fill. How do I turn this into a stroked path? Not easily. What I'd recommend doing personally is I would actually recommend pen tooling this. and doing it manually, because then once you obviously take a lot longer than this, that's terrible, but do it properly, because then once you've got that as a stroke, you can then do a lot more. You can change the width of the text, you can do all sorts of different things. Much easier. It's much easier to do it that way rather than try and edit this. One thing I did try experimenting with that didn't really work was going to offset path and bringing it down into a negative value until the paths meet in the middle. But as you can see, it didn't really work. So you could do something like that. Let me ungroup that. Get rid of the big chunky ones. It looks kind of cool. It's a very very minimalist font. So you could do something like that and then perhaps try and delete part of the path. So let's delete these little bits and pieces. So you've kind of got the general shape of an S that you could flip around and make bigger. So that's kind of one way of doing it, but it doesn't always work. It depends what font you're using. And as you can see here, these ones are completely broken apart. But, you could try deleting half. Let's go with half over here. Sorry, I've got distracted. So you could use that as a starting point and then just finish off redrawing the letters. But personally, I would just pen tool it from scratch. Anyway, fire and ice. Only the E letter mirror, 3E. Wow, yeah, I know. I think the problem is if we're gonna, I feel like, you see here, like we've got F and R as their own characters, and C as well, but then we've got I meshed together and E meshed together, whereas I feel like at least here we've got 4 distinct characters. Even this one here is kind of merged into its own thing, whereas this, it's kind of weird. You've got one letter, then a mishmash, one letter, and then another mishmash at the end. So it kind of at a glance looks like 5 letters. And of course, fire or ice don't have 5 letters, so for me, it's not working. But this is kind of cool. We could possibly do something with a gradient to blend these two together. Let's have a play. I've got an idea. Obviously, with a decent logo, you don't want to jump into gradients straight off the bat. You want to flesh out the idea first in black and white predominantly. But we're all friends here. We're just having a bit of fun. So let's just get a bit crazy. So first of all, I'm going to have to expand this. Otherwise, what I'm trying to do isn't actually going to work. So let's combine all these individual shapes together. Let's get you in there as well. So we're just doing a little bit of cleanup here. Cleaning these up is just going to make life an awful lot easier further down the line. So there we go, nice and tidy. What's this? Random anchor point there. Be gone. We don't want you there lurking around. You'll cause all sorts of problems. And we're going to do the same for the letter E as well. So we're just expanding those strokes into a fill and then our combined. Right, excellent. Now I can start adding some gradients to these. So if I select, we'll go with the R first of all. Let's grab this color. Oh my goodness, everyone's throwing ideas into the chat. Yeah, we definitely do need some kind of whiteboard session ability or something. Gradiente, right. Let's add that red in there. Paste in that color reference so we get the same red. And then for this one, I'm going to set this to black, but I'm going to bring the opacity down because I want this fading into the background. Let's flip that to 90 degrees. Not that way round, so we can flip it again. And then it kind of blends into the background. And let's go and eyedropper tool this onto all of the others. We've got fire. Let's do the same again. We'll just get the gradient looking good. And then we'll change that red for a nice sexy blue. So, blue. Nice icy blue, there we go. Yeah. Not ideal. No, not really feeling that. Let's just try one more thing before I completely throw the towel in on that idea. Paste, opacity at 0. That gives a nicer blend. Okay, that's a little bit better. So all I did there was change the color at the other end to the same red. Even though it's at 0% opacity, it does change how the color fades out. Same for if I use white or black. If it's still going to 0, it will change it. Yeah, so I was kind of trying to go for like a reflection thing on both sides, but it looks a bit rubbish. Anyway, we'll park that there for now, and we'll go back to drawing some flames. Now, for fire, how you represent it, it's usually a flame. Ice is typically represented, well, what would we do? Like a shard of ice or a sheet of ice? Oh, not like that. Or a glacier of some sort. How could we represent? In fact, let's go and type ice symbol into Google. Let's have a look at ice symbol. No, I do not want snowflakes. Do not want snowflakes at all. Got enough of those these days. Snowflake. Okay, that is literally how ice is represented. Let's try ice logo and have a look at what else. Got ice cubes, slabs of ice. Yeah, there's not that many representations of ice. And if I type in fire logo as well, yeah, it's usually a flame of some description. Blend the red into the blue. Quite possibly. We'll come back to that one. Let's draw some. I've got a couple of other ideas to do with fire and flame. So let's try something like this. So that could be the ice, like a representation of like a crystal or something. And then the fire could be something like that, which could look quite cool on its own. A bit more of a mark there, but let's give it a go. That's obviously a terrible kind of hand-drawn version, but I'm going to use some circles to get a little bit more geometric precision. So I've got that one there for the outside. In fact, let's make this red and use this as a guide, because that's the important thing about these rough sketches. If you joined the stream where I did the dove, you can see they look awful, but it doesn't matter because nobody ever sees them. No clients would ever see that work. It's really just sketching out your ideas, and it only needs to do one thing. It needs to tell you as the designer whether this idea has some legs and it's worth pursuing, or whether you should just discard it and move on to something else. Because fun fact, my drawing ability these days is not great. I am definitely much more of a digital bean. Ice cube in the flame while it's dripping from the ice, says Ellie. Yes, that would look pretty cool. Left side of the flame equals blue for the ice. Yeah, thank you, Mike. That's kind of what I'm going for here. Yeah, could look quite cool. I've just got to try and draw this with a bit more precision, because I really want to try and get those curves looking nice. So let's make him a bit smaller. Then we'll make a cut, I think, there. And we'll make another cut there. And then we'll try and bring that. Yeah, that's going to be quite harsh, that curve. Let's pen tool it. Let's pen tool it and see how it goes. All right, we'll start with that. All right, slight curve there. Then we'll grab this one, go down. And let's just use the shape builder tool to scrub that little bit from the gap. I think this has got some legs. I think it's got some legs. Again, another awful iteration, but let's thicken it up. This top flame looks awful as well, but it doesn't matter. All it needs to do, like I said, is tell me that is there an idea there worth pursuing, and there absolutely is. And the great thing about this is, because I've done this all with the pen tool, I can go in and I can fine tune these curves. Doo-doo. Badoo. All right, let's bring this one in as well. Widen that one out. So here you can see we've got lots of anchor points. I'm going to get rid of this one and then just redraw this like that, because when you have lots and lots of anchor points, it gets very difficult to then easily edit them without affecting other ones. So the fewer anchor points you can create a design with, the much easier it's going to be. Now, this bit here, you can see the width coming through here is all over the place. Of course, because I used the pen tool, I'm eyeballing it. But there is a trick that is going to make that getting that kind of width consistent much easier, and that is to offset the path. We're going to choose a positive value. Let's increase this up so I get a nice gap. Something like that looks good. Let's nudge this out to the right. And then I'm going to, what am I going to do? Let's get rid of all of this on the right hand side. And then I'm going to nudge it back. And this is a trick that I love using, because now you can see I've got that nice consistent width all the way around here, and I can completely scrub this part as well. Move this back in. And this part of the flame does look awful, so I'm actually going to redraw all of that except for the bottom part. And it's exactly what I said before. It's like, you know, sometimes rather than drawing things from scratch, just use the existing shapes you've got, and that path offset is a great way to do that. Let's make sure that just comes in there. And now we could try the curvature tool. That's one I don't use enough. There we go, not too shabby. Not too shabby. Let's just round off the corners as well for now. Now I've got this little tail coming off the bottom here. I could do something with that, but nope. So let's shape builder tool that away. And this point as well. There we go. We've got a nice clean curve with no duplicates. And you can see we've gone from having that the spacing there's all right because I fixed it, but it was really, really off before. And we've now got a much nicer looking flame shape with consistent spacing. At the top, it's gone a bit thinner there, but I can easily tweak that if I need to. I could just try moving that over. So we're definitely getting there. We're definitely getting something that looks a bit more flame-esque. Vincent says, very cool trick. Yeah, path offset is one of those things that is just very, very good to learn. Right. We're definitely going to need some more space here. I don't know how I've done this. This is 5,000 pixels squared on the artboard size, and somehow already, I think I just start drawing massive. I need to draw things smaller. Right, let's shrink this down a bit because this is just silly. I'm going to run out of space. Okay, okay. So it's getting better. Definitely getting better. Not quite there though. So. Ooh, what am I not liking? What am I not liking? This bottom curve feels a bit weird. That's pretty much the same. I feel like it needs to be a circle. I want a lovely circle. Circles are just precise and fantastic. And another thing as well, I think it's going to end up looking like it's tilting to the left a bit. It's going to be a bit wonky. What I kind of want, and something I've noticed when drawing flame style shapes, is that you kind of want this tip at the very top to go straight down the center of your base. So this circle isn't necessarily the base because I'm ignoring this part over here, but I will keep a little line there because I might just need to rotate it to the right to straighten it up so the flame doesn't look like it's on the wonk, because we do not want a wonky flame. Or at least I don't. Okay, so we've got a nice smooth curve at the bottom there. We're not messing up this width too much here. I feel like this part on the right is... I need another guide. I need another guide. Let's go for green this time, make it thinner. So let's encompass this flame on the left as well. There we go. Something like this. And then let's make a cut there. So what I really want, the reason I've got this green guide is because I want the whole entire bottom of this logo to look consistent and smooth. So I'm using the circle, but I'm also bringing in this sort of little flame or this bit of ice, whatever it ends up being, on the left as well. So let's just lock that circle. And then here you can see I'm not too far off with this one. I'm not too far off with that. Let's see if we can do this with the pen tool, because I've got another circle as a guide now, so that might look all right. Now I think this flame at the top definitely needs some work. Poor. Difficult though. Difficult. I think we probably need to come down a bit. Maybe not as low. Maybe we do need to come low. And I got to be honest, this is probably one of the harder things, especially if you're new to Illustrator, or even if you're not. Actually, I find this quite difficult sometimes, depending on the shape. Like again, if you saw the stream that we did a couple weeks ago or whenever it was, like I found drawing wings consistently really, really difficult, and it's just one of those things I really struggled with. But if you're someone who is you're more familiar with drawing, or you've got a background in drawing and illustration, you'll find something like that much easier than me. But yeah, that was a fun little surprise. God, I was terrible at drawing wings. Really bad. But I got there in the end. It just took a bit of perseverance. Alright, let's try and connect this up. You can see here I'm zooming in nice and close to try and get those nice smooth curves. And if we hide this little green thing, let's unlock that. Where have you gone? Let's move you out of the way. Yeah, that's definitely a bit of an improvement, I think. A few kinks that need tidying up, but that's easy stuff. Easy stuff. Go. Got another bit here. One of the problems of using the shape builder tool, you get these weird duplicate stray anchor points just dotted around everywhere. So you always have to check for those strays, because if you ignore them, they can cause you a lot of problems. They can be a real pain in la bum. Right, not too bad. This looks a bit janky over here. We've got a bit of wonkiness going on. So I'm going to make a cut down there. To make cuts, by the way, I'm using the scissor tool. That's this one over here. And the shortcut is C on the keyboard. So sometimes your paths, they're a bit of a lost cause. You need to force a cut and then just redraw them. So I think we're getting there. What I'm kind of going for is something like, let's flip this round. Got ice. We got fire. Like the Pepsi logo on fire, that one. So let's dial this back a bit. Something like that. I could hug up against it a bit closer, I think. But that's kind of where I'm going. And in fact, actually, that's a really good way of just refining these shapes a bit more, is if I flip this round, so we're working with fills, it sometimes makes it a little bit easier to see where your problems are. Hello there says, is this a Scout logo? No. Dante says, yes, pen tool, my kryptonite. I know. Very, very useful. Use golden ratio circles and shape builder. Will you delete this live, or can I rewatch it? No, the live is going to be up afterwards. We'll be doing these twice a week, Tuesday and Thursday. Golden ratio, I'm not getting too much into that. I dabble with the golden ratio, but it's not something I rely on. For me, I kind of use not the principles of it, but I like the geometric nature of the shapes you can create with it. But it's not something that I rely on personally. But it is nice to be able to create a design mathematically with that level of precision, and then go, hey, here I made this design, and this is how these circles and the relationship between these elements all fit together. It's cool. It's really cool. Can I round off the corners a bit? Slightly rounded flame. We do like that, actually. That's quite cool. Yeah, so I don't know if you can see here, but it feels like the flame is a bit wonky. If I just duplicate this and straighten it up slightly, grab that line. Remember what I said before? It kind of feels like that tip there at the top needs to line up with that red line. Whereas before it was kind of leaning over a bit. Let's Let's try and line this up. Now with this one here, it's quite far away. In fact, what I could try with both of them actually to bring them a bit closer together and close that gap is offset the path, but go with a positive value. Not that big. Maybe just 6. Let's bring that out to the right. Yeah, they're a little bit closer together. Of course, it has mucked up the curves and everything. But I think that might be a bit too close, actually. I've got an idea. Let's go for 4 instead. 4 is a much better number. Just to adjust that gap spacing. Or actually, ooh, even better. What about if I add a stroke and make the stroke black? Okay. Same issue. Yeah, I'm still going to have to adjust these curves like that. Although at least doing it this way, I can kind of try and control these curves a bit more. Just trying to get it to run round consistently there. All right, let's expand that and then merge them all together. So it's definitely getting there. In fact, I think it's there enough that I could, you know, throw in some colors and see how it's going to look. This is the kind of thing that I'll probably sit down and finish up later on. And when I'm off camera, I do find that the ideas kind of flow a little bit easier. I think it's because I'm streaming and I'm kind of doing everything all at once. But yeah, this does look kind of cool. Let's throw in a dark background as well. Huh. I mean, it doesn't necessarily look like ice per se, but we could add some gradients and make it look quite sparkly or whatever in a bit. Or we could just make it white and have it a bit more symbolic. Or what we could do is actually grab it as it is and then use it over here. We've got our fire shape. We just go and pop it on top there. Obviously this isn't fire and ice, this is just literally fire. But I don't know, could look kind of cool. In fact, where did we get to with fire and ice? I think we left it somewhere here. Let's bring this up. Fire and ice. Okay, that's one idea. Let's play around with another one. Oh, what we could do. I feel like there is a really clever idea just sort of hiding around the corner somewhere, waiting to get me. Let's bring that down. Oh, good. I'm glad you're enjoying this, Amp. What if you put it under the F? What, the fire? I mean, you could put it there and we could put like an and symbol. Could you make the and symbol on fire? Oh dear, don't try that, Dan. That's getting dangerously creative. Okay, let's try this. And fire and ice. don't know. Not sure though. Let's bring that one in. Let's try something slightly different. I'll grab the ellipse tool, draw a circle, drag this up. Same color as the background. Oh, we could do something with symmetry. So if you've not used symmetry before, we could go to, where are you? Repeat, mirror. Let's try this. Maybe a bit higher. I mean, this is a nice, symmetrical, much smoother design, I think. I mean, I love using this feature because it just means you can get everything, look, looking beautifully symmetrical. Right, again, let's do the old offset. Ah, there we go. That's how we make that nice inside part. Yeah, offset. That offset path feature is absolutely brilliant. Oh, there we go. That's an interesting one. Didn't expect that. Right, let's try and expand this. Now, when you expand these repeat group objects, they go a bit weird. And you've got to go in here and you've got to delete the bounding box. Otherwise, it can go a bit funny. So let's select everything. You group together. See, it's not going to let me use the shape builder tool now, so it does go a bit weird sometimes, unfortunately. Oh, there we go. There we go. And so I've got that kind of inner flame in the middle, just looking a little bit tidier now. Now, if you do this, if you kind of flip the stroke and the fill around and you get something that looks like this, which is a bit weird, it means that your points aren't connected up. So we need to just connect the top points there and at the top. And again, you can see we've got a path here that's, this path here is a bit, whoa, we've got duplicate anchor points galore. My goodness. Right, so what I would do in this instance, because I've got a lot of these paths, you can see there's a stray under there. This is a complete mess, and this is courtesy of the shape builder tool, which is great, but it has its problems. So first of all, let's get rid of these duplicates. Let's clean all of these paths up manually. Got one there, one there. Right, now let's connect them together. Rather than do that over here as well, I think the best thing to do is to grab the rectangle tool. We'll cover half the design with a big blue box, exactly half, and then we'll just use either minus front, or if it won't let us, we'll use the shape builder tool to just get rid of that. Just check there's no strays. We're just going to drag around, just check we've got no anchor points left over, and we've got exactly half the design. We can then just copy and flip round. And then we'll merge those together. And there we go. So we've got that flame shape there. And this is a much tidier implementation. It's a bit pointy, a little bit spiky at the top. So what I'm going to do is grab the knife tool, hold Alt Option and Shift, and make a clean cut. Get rid of the top. And then I can go in and just round off those corners. That's definitely better. Maybe just need a pinch more off the top. It's like getting a haircut. You're just trimming some off the top and then rounding those corners slightly. And for consistency, we could round these off as well, just so they kind of mimic the top. There we go. Does that look like a flame now? I've rounded the corners off. I don't know. Did it look like a flame at all? That's a very good question. Right. Where's me letter I gone? Can you make the top part a bit less pointy? Ah, yes. That's what I've done. But I think because I've made it less pointy, I've made it a little bit less flame-like. And so I think it's going to have to work harder to be clear that it's a flame. So I think hopefully when I pop it on the eye and use the color red, it will become clearer. Possibly. Whoosh, massive flame. Could the R be a flame? That top part? Oh, there was another design I was going to play around with actually. There was something else I was going to do that was a bit more interesting. Let's bring that down. That's so it's level. And then connect these 2 points. So something with the R, just kind of playing around with this. Something like that could work. Maybe. Maybe bring that back a little bit. I don't know if that's trying to be a bit too clever, which can sometimes happen. Let's just take a look at what we've got so far. Yeah, so lots of playing around with the words fire and ice, trying to combine them all. It still looks like a burning eggs spaceship company. Fufu says, it looks like a flame to me, pretty much. Yeah, I think it's not too bad. I think it's the bottom that kind of makes it look a bit less like a flame. I mean, something we could do, we could select all of these anchor points here in the middle with the direct selection tool, copy them, paste them, shrink it down, and we'll change that to the blue color. So it's kind of fire and ice, but also the center of a flame is blue anyway. So it kind of, it makes sense in that context as well. Let's just redraw that bottom part. Oops. So I don't know, that could be fire and ice, it could be could be flame, but I don't know. I'm not sold on it, but it's a good idea to play around with this sort of stuff anyway. But yeah, I feel like there's something a bit more clever that I just haven't quite hit on yet. We could try this one as outlines. So let's swap the fill and the stroke there and thicken these up. Just to see how it looks. Because sometimes a linear version of a logo can look quite cool. Not sure in this example. Musaf says, hello Danny. Hello. Thank you for joining the stream. Blue ice cracks in the flame. It can be unusual but beautiful, says Teaspoon. Ice cracks in the flame. Yes, it could be. God, I'm really wishing I had my my tablet now. I've got no USB ports. It'd be much easier to sketch out flame shapes using that than a mouse. So if you've got pen, pencil or tablet, it's definitely worth using. But I think what we'll do is I'll carry on with this for a bit longer, but it's always when I get off camera, I take a break and then come back to it, all the ideas just flood out of my brain off camera for some reason. It's unfortunate, but hopefully I'll be able to finish this into something that looks half decent and then post that to the channel. Oh, I've got a few designs. I'm just not really sure which one, like where to go with it. I feel like this is the best way to combine fire and ice, this treatment of the text. If there is a cleverer version of combining the letters, I haven't thought it up yet. I mean, we could do something where we intertwine them, but oh, I just don't know. What about, hang on a second, what about if we do something like that? Right, let's move you out of the way. Let's move you out of the way as well. So we've got fire. Come on, Dan. Think, think, think. Let's get that brain turning. What about if I were to do something like this? Ice. Could I combine that? Mike says, no worries, the live stream has to be the most intense version of someone looking over your shoulder while you work. Yeah, it is. It's a weird one, though. I actually find streaming very fun. I enjoy this. I find it harder doing the pre-recorded stuff, talking to the camera in a room where it's just me. Whereas this stuff is kind of like I enjoy it. It's really chill for me because, you know, you're just live and you just kind of hang out and have fun and chat and whatever. But I think it does affect my sort of ability to be creative a little bit. I've noticed that I'm much more creative when the camera's off and I just take a break for a few hours, come back to it, and then just boom. Like with the dove, the ideas just sort of flow a bit more freely. Is there an idea here? Could we... Oh, hang on. Is there an idea there, or am I getting a bit excited for nothing? What do we think? Is he onto something? Let's have a look. We are mixing upper and lowercase here, naughty naughty, but Time Moss says the top part of the R kind of looks like a backwards C. Maybe you could do something with that. Oh, I don't know. We did. I think the idea of having the letters backwards, like I've done with the E here, it's very tricky. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to get away with this. Because the problem is it can kind of work and it can kind of look quite cool in a logo, but I mean, does that work? Let's bring that back a little bit. Video Maker says maybe. Actually, how about using the top part of the R as the C by reversing it and nudging it to the right a little and intertwine them? Okay. Let's give it a go. I'll try and understand what you said correctly. How about using the top part of the R as the letter C by reversing it and nudging it to the right? Yeah, see, if I reverse it round, it's kind of going to make the R point the other way. That's the only problem. Maybe it just needs a bit of space there. The F looks more like an R to me, especially if you haven't seen it before. Oh, this one here. Yeah. Don't know. I don't know. Maybe this double E could work, you know. I feel like this could work. We've almost got two E's overlapping. All right, let's try and squish this down. In fact, we could actually just let's go and make those capital I's again. Go, something like that. Yeah, I feel like the way the R connects to the C, there's something there. There is definitely something there. Dante says, what happened to your USB ports, sir? I haven't got any available for the graphics tablet. I'd love to be able to plug that in and just kind of freely draw a little bit more. Can we make I as the fire flame in red color? Yeah, I mean, we could do something like that. You could take this bit here, and you could kind of have the eye as a flame, and then I think you need to make the other letters kind of, well, not really, but you might need to make the other letters kind of have some sort of similar style. But I feel like the flame is probably the easier bit, combining these letters. Do you know what I mean? Like up here, I'm sort of experimenting with fire, and that's easy, but it isn't fire and ice. And I feel like I want to try and crack, wherever it's gone, this fire and ice logo. I want to be able to interlink the words together in a way that actually works. I mean, I got to be honest, at the moment, I know it's not finished, but I can read fire and ice. What do you think? Can you read those two words, fire and ice? Adult says, why not my idea, go Avatar style, make the fire and water collide. You can make water into ice look. Yeah, I think that would be something a little bit different. If you got rid of the ice part and made the I top part of the R and backwards E all blue, you can read fire and ice in one word. Right. Let's see if I can understand that. If you got rid of the ice part and made the I top part of the R, got rid of the ice part. If you got rid of the, actually let's just, if you got rid of the ice part and made the top part of the R and backwards E all blue, is this what you mean? Do you know, I think you kind of get away with fire there. But as soon as I bring this one up, it does cause a bit of a problem. Unless I shrink that in there. That doesn't look too bad. Yeah, see, it's this weird R going into the circle, like on the original design here. I think that's kind of the problem. I don't know if something like that works. Fire and ice. Huh. This is hard. This is really hard. It's fun though. It's always good to challenge yourself, I think. And I've totally lost what I was doing before, so let's just get that back. Then I'll paste that one in down there. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure about being able to make them all one word. Unless I had two E's. Go E and then a little E there. Ice. it starts to get a bit weird, I think. Video Maker says no. Definitely more harmony now. I really like this idea. I really do, because at the moment it's not finished, but at least I can clearly read fire and ice. And the way the R connects to the C is pretty nice, and it works. The E's, they don't look too bad. I think they could look worse. It's just this random I here as well, figuring out what to do with that. Video Maker says, I think it's difficult. Yeah, it's pretty tough. Murat says, Dansky, paste the underline C to the middle. Paste the underline of the C to the middle line of the R. The underline of the C to the middle line of the R. Yeah, we've done that already, kind of having it up here. But I just don't think it's going to work as one character. It just isn't working. Just looks really strange. The thesis says, thanks for your videos. Whilst I'm still a novice, the tips and tricks and information you share keeps me wanting to get better. Oh, that's amazing. I'm really glad they're helpful. Margie says, the only issue is with an eye. Yeah, do you mean this eye over here? Kind of feels like it doesn't really connect to anything, or it's just sort of floating kind of on its own. Yeah, so can I? I mean, I could try and line this up with the end of the F, just so, kind of like I mentioned earlier, it looks intentional at least. But then perhaps a gap here. Move the I to the corner of the F, Pooja Digitals says. Move the I to the corner of the F. Oh, what, you mean like this? Yeah, maybe. Let's do another version. I need space. As always, guys, if you've just joined or if you've been here for hours, please do let me know your feedback on the stream afterwards. Comment on the video what you liked and didn't like. This stream is quite different to the video reviews, and it's just going to be me kind of really doing what I do. And what I do does take a lot of time. So, you know, if you find this stream slow or boring, please do let me know that. If you enjoy it and you enjoy watching me work at this kind of pace, then let me know that as well. Yeah, just basically let me know what you think, because that kind of feedback will help me figure out future streams. All right, let's bring this in, bring the iron. Margie says it looks pretty balanced now. Yes, like that, Pooja says. Okay. Right, let's try something else. Let's move. But then, of course, you got the spacing with the word ice. Looks totally off now. This may be an impossible task that I'm actually trying to do here. Small gaps top and left of blue eye when under F, the thesis says. Top and left of blue eye when under F. Small gaps top and left of blue eye. Small gaps top and left of blue eye when under the F. Yeah. But then it does become a little I. Unless I do just make the letters really small. Little ice. There we go. Ice. Ice. Oh! Could that work? Is there something there? I don't know. I don't know if I'm just clutching at straws there. Daniel says nope. No, I think it's got a bit all over the place, really, hasn't it? Oh, I thought I was onto something then. I mean, I can kind of read fire and ice. It just doesn't look particularly nice. That's the only problem. Okay, that's fine. Let's do another one. Do you know what? I got another idea. Because like I said earlier, a good logo has got to work in one color. So let's see if we can do something with this logo in a single color. Rather than trying to use these two colors and see two words, let's try a different approach. Thanks for joining, Murat. See you later. this is hard. This is difficult. Yeah, it just kind of looks like a bit of a nonsense word when you try and combine it all together. Ezekiel says, love this. Yuan says, Dansky, thank you for your videos. We love you. Oh, amazing. Paul Westlake, hello. Welcome, sir. Oh, Mr. Star actually working on a video animation today. Oh, nice. Nice. Vincent says, F should be smaller because it hides the ice. F should be smaller because it hides the ice. Yeah. See, all these other ideas, they kind of... I mean, look at them. Some of them are pretty wild, aren't they? But this is the only one that, for me personally, I can see the word fire and the word ice together. I don't think it's quite there in terms of the execution, but I can read both of the words. What do you think? Oh, you're welcome, Paul. I hope you liked it. They did have like the course platform did have these certificates that you could automatically send out once someone completed the course, but the designs just, they weren't great. They really weren't, and I just thought I can't send this to someone. So I just thought, you know what, I'm going to do some custom certificates, and so that everyone who finishes the course gets like something original that I've created, and it's kind of unique, and it's a nice little kind of I don't know, like a nice little kind of achievement. So yeah, I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, I feel like this is going to be... I think this is probably... I feel like this is the closest out of all of them. The only problem is it's dependent on colour, which isn't ideal. But for anyone who's just joined the stream, we've got a bunch of different ideas. We've got some flames over here, a fire and ice. We've experimented with this kind of, yeah, that was probably what I spent most of the time on in terms of the kind of mark, doing the kind of ice and the fire. But someone else suggested doing like an ice cube. Could you integrate a cube and a flame? Possibly. I mean, could we use a cube for this bit? I don't know. Let's try it. Let's flip this around. And let's just connect that up there. There we go. There we go. Really quick and easy cube. Let's make it bright green. Tra-la-la. Could we fit those ideas into there, into a cube shape? Apologies, I can't remember who suggested this idea, but let's give it a go. Why not? Let's give it a go. So we'll go with an F. Got the word fire and ice. Fire and ice. Oops. So we can have the I there. No. Yes. The R there. And the E over here. A little squishy E. Could we get ice up here as well? So I suppose we could do a blue. E up there. We could get hang on, Dan. Why don't we use blue? Let's use blue. Whoa, no, not like that. Not like that. There we go. All right. We could get the blue up there. Eyes. Huh. Obviously, my crude drawing aside, that could work. I think with the E as well, you know, the E's will connect really nicely on that side edge. I could try and connect the C and the R in a similar way that I've done here, possibly without making it look terrible. It might not work. The two I's could connect together as well. And then we've got the F. Paul says fire on the top face, ice wrapping around the bottom. I think it's worth probably trying that as well. Just before I sort of try and hone in on one of those in particular. Okay. Rightio, let's try that again. Let's grab red. Nope, that's white. There we go. Red. Nice big brush. Carl says, just a stylish font, text-based layout may be best. Yeah, maybe. I think you might be right at this point. Tankman says, if you were to combine the two words together into one for the R and C, maybe extend the right leg down. Two words into one, R and C. It almost look like the theta sign, but with a gap space at the bottom. Theta symbol. Oh, okay. Maybe. Ellie says, finally getting to my idea. Ellie, was it you that said about doing it in the cube, the 3D cube? Apologies if it was. Don't worry, you will receive full credit for this idea. Oh, that's too chunky. That's too chunky. Okay. Okay, right. I think it's a good idea, Paul. But the problem is I've got a lot more space down the bottom for that fiery longer word, which is 4 letters. Ice is only 3 letters. And so I think if I do fire up here, I'm going to be a little bit pressed for space. Whereas ice down here, I think then might look quite gappy. And I don't think these really connect up in the same way. Whereas this E kind of connecting up is quite nice. Right. Oh, let's give this a go. We'll keep going for a bit longer, but then I will need to jump off because my bum is going numb, being sat down for like nearly 2 hours. But I am having a great time. So, you know, there is that. Right, let's do this. So just to create this kind of perfect cube, just create a 6-sided hexagon and then pen tool out from that center point. At least we're going to do this with some precision now. Well, we're going to try anyway. We're going to try. Now I need to figure out what this angle is here. Bzzzt. 210. So if I draw a line, rotate this line by 210. There we go. Got a line at the same angle. I kind of reuse this now. Now this isn't going to go up neatly into the corner. I will have to kind of fudge that at some point. But at least this will help me get the kind of basic shapes in there. Even if it does look a little bit ropey at first. And that would be the R there. Then we'll have another one for the E. Again, rather than kind of doing all that maths and calculating again, I'm just going to use this shape that I've got at the right angle. And because I created this hexagon shape with precision and I used that exact center point, I know that everything's going to line up. Make that a bit shorter. Completely forgot the rest of the R. Oops. So we're going to probably have to put that there, I think. Bring you down here. Something like that. That's going to be tricky to try and get that angle. Okay, that'll do for now. And then up top, we've got the eye. So again, we're just reusing all these same lines that we've got the angles looking good. Don't worry that everything's sticking out the end right now. We will be able to clean that up. So, eye. Another E. Can I reuse this and get away with rotating it? No. Nope. Oh well. It's alright. We're just going to have to recreate it like this. We'll do it manually for now. Just make sure it lines up. Cool. It's a bit thicker than that other E, so I've got to make sure all the widths kind of match up and everything. That point in the middle needs to be shorter as well. Wrap the sea of ice around the front cube corner. Wrap the sea of ice around the front cube corner. When you say front cube, do you mean one of these ones? Because I don't know if that's going to work. Now, this is already pretty squished on top. Like the ratio doesn't really work out. If the word fire had an extra letter or ice had one letter less, it would probably balance out a bit more. But as you can see, it's sort of pretty squished, isn't it? So I'm definitely going to have to move this over. Oops. Where have you gone? Where have you gone? There you are. Oh, it's an interesting idea. I mean, I suppose we could go outside of the cube, because the cube won't be there in the final design. So I could actually just move this up so it's kind of 1, 2, 3 just floating on top. And the thing with this design is actually it would look quite good in black and white. You know, if I kind of polish this up in black and white, you can very clearly see it's fire and ice. Is it supposed to read fire and ice, or is it interchangeable? Yes, it's meant to read fire and ice. So if you just joined, this was the logo that someone submitted the other day, and they kind of combined the C and the R, and I didn't recognize it at first, and even when I did, I wasn't feeling it, to be honest. But I feel like this design could possibly work. because then we have fire and ice. We get a nice little logo mark as well in this hexagon shape, which works. And there's quite a lot that we could do with that then as well. But it's just figuring out the spacing. It's just figuring that spacing out. Now, if I'm a bit squished for space here on the C, what I could do is bring the E down and then let this part of the C kind of form the top part of the E as well. So it means I can extend that a little bit more. Possibly. Right, let's go and move this over here to really kind of try and dial this in. I need to make a mask. So I'm going to take this hexagon, move this over here. Hopefully this will work. Make a big block of colour. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to knock out that hexagon from the center and then make this big block of color, a very similar color to the background. And then if I go and set this on top of everything, and then also line it up with my original hexagon, and make sure I lock that layer, gives me a bit more of an idea of how things are going to look. You can see it trims off those end points, and I can extend these beyond. And it gives me a much better idea of how it looks with those ends trimmed off, if it's actually going to work. The concept is good, Fabio. It loses a bit of the fire and the mood. Yeah. I feel like you're right. It does lose a bit of that fire. However, once I've done this, I could make the word fire red, the word ice blue. I then could actually turn this entire cube design into a flame and have the flame coming up here. So there's still quite a lot of things I could do with it to integrate the fire. I could put the icon back in here, the kind of flame that I've done. So there's still definitely some scope to get that back in. All right, I think now I'm going to need my colors back. Where have you gone? Right, let's give them the colors back just for now. And then fire. Okay. Right. Let's just do a little bit of cleanup, because this is looking messy. So what I'm doing is I'm just using these kind of big blocks of color at the moment, and then just matching them to the background around the edge to kind of cover everything. So now you can see I've got a better idea of how fire is potentially going to look. And now I've got that better idea, I can start being a bit more creative. So I could go back to kind of that removing of this part of the design and doing something cool here. I think first things first, we've got to clean up these anchor points because they are all over the place. So those smart guides are really going to come in handy. We just need to get these paths looking nice and tight. One step at a time, otherwise it can all just become a little bit overwhelming. Tankman says, what if the view is reversed? So instead of seeing the top part of the cube, you see the bottom, and it looks as if it's melting. Reads Fire and Ice. Yeah, I suppose you could do. You could do, actually. That's a pretty good... So yeah, so I see what you mean. Have fire up here, have the flames coming off here, and have then the ice dripping. Could be a good idea. I'll write that down, actually. That's a really good one. Ice on bottom, fire with flames on top. Yeah, so I'm going to focus on this one first, just to see if this concept has any legs. But if this does actually look half decent and I can kind of get it working, yeah, could flip it around the other way and have the flame going up and the ice melting. Nice idea. I love that. Like if you watch the cube from below. First of all, let's just line all these bits and pieces up and just check this idea actually works before we go any further. Alright, let's connect you. Making sure these angles are all pretty tight. On the left, very nice. Now I need to cut that straight. So we've got one there. Another one down there. Yeah, a bit of a gap here. Is there a way to fix that? Now I am going to have to bring the word ice down. This is getting very complicated now. Alright, let's try and lock a few of these elements. These kind of blocks, these lines that are there as guides. So I need this blue one to be up there. This one needs to extend off the edge. This one needs to come up. Let's bring you in. Let's connect you two together. Down, and I've got to be careful that I don't kind of mess up any of the angles when I'm doing this, because I've taken a lot of care to make sure that these angles are all sort of pretty good. Oh, that C is going to be a really tight fit. Think. Yeah, I might have to bring the eye down. It might. Need that extra bit of space there. Huh. Very difficult. Actually, it says, can use grids within the faces of the cube for making the letters. Yeah, that probably would have helped me, actually, if I'd have made a grid and divided it all up. In fact, that's the kind of thing I probably will actually do off camera, just because, you know, setting up a grid and everything would take a bit of time. I'd probably set up an isometric grid, and that would actually make my life a heck of a lot easier, because then I could just kind of draw through the different parts. I could even use the shape builder tool to try and draw the lines, which would actually make my life an awful lot easier, because I do feel like this concept could work. I feel like if I can figure out a way to creatively get around this spacing issue, this could look really cool, combining fire and ice, and I could still integrate the kind of whole flame aspect as well. It may just need a bit of tinkering to kind of really fully realize this idea. Paul says, add short horizontals to the top and bottom of the eye. That'll help to balance it out a bit. Add short horizontals to the top and bottom of the eye. Oh, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah, something like this. Yeah, maybe actually. I think one thing that would, like, normally I would just be like, oh no, I'm not kind of feeling that with this sort of font design. But what that does do, if I can get that in there in a certain way, is it does kind of help fill this space a bit more. Because that is one concern, is that there's a lot of space over here. Unless I were to add like an and or a plus or something in there, you know, like plus, integrate a plus, something like this, fire and ice, but I don't know. But yeah, this is a really cool idea. In fact, I really like this one. I've got to be honest, I feel a lot better about this one than any of these ones here. I think this was a we could call it a valiant effort. Lots of great ideas. I'm sorry that I couldn't understand everyone's ideas. That was definitely my fault, not yours. It's quite difficult to interpret what people mean in the chat. I'm doing my best to understand it. So, you know, thank you for being patient with me. Video Maker says, yes, I like this. Yeah, I got a feeling about this one. I got a good feeling about it. If I can just figure out the details. And Paul, yeah, wow, that was hard to try and explain via chat, Paul says. I know it's difficult. You try trying to interpret it. Like it's like, oh, am I misunderstanding this? Blimey, I take one work call and suddenly the logo's changed massively. Yeah, I know, Stewards, it's gone pretty wild. Rum time. I know. I gotta bring some whiskey in. I got water. I've no rum for me. But maybe we'll do that sometime. We'll do a stream where I get completely plastered on rum and see what kind of creativity I can come up with then. Catherine says fire on top and ice on bottom. Yes, I think. Yeah, that seems to be what a lot of people are saying. And I think if I did do that, have the fire on top and the ice on the bottom, that will open me up to making the fire kind of a bit more fire-like with flames going up and then the ice dripping down. I think there is going to be a really cool idea in there somewhere. Ellie Grossman says, I have a very good idea. Is there a way I can send it now? Oh, go on then. You've piqued my interest, Ellie. Just really quickly, because I'm going to have to wrap up the stream in a minute because I need to go and eat something and use my legs. But if you send your idea over to that email there, I'll pick it up and have a quick look. Ab says, have the I and C and E curve into the R and E. I, C and E. Yes, that could work as well. So I think if I understood what you mean, it's have the I kind of there, the C kind of curve into the R, and the E go into the E. Yeah, I think that was sort of where I was kind of going with my original my original sketch. I mean, look at this. It looks like a child has made this in MS Paint. Yeah, that was the original intention. Obviously, it's not quite worked out. But I think there's a good idea here. I really do. And I can't take credit because I think it may have been Ellie that that suggested it in the first place. I'll take partial credit. Won't match the I in ice though. No, it's tricky. It's tricky. It's just managing the space as well. Fabio says the problem there is that the ice eye is different from the fire eye. Yeah. Yeah, it is a little bit. The thesis. Yeah, I think I will try flipping it as people have suggested. We'll have the eye on the bottom and the fire on the top. And to be honest, that makes sense. I should have done that from the start because then it reads fire and ice. Whereas at the moment it's kind of backwards if we're reading from top to bottom. So, but yeah, it doesn't matter. I'll spend a bit more time doing it. I'm just glad that this concept kind of has some legs, really. But yeah, that's definitely a better way to do it, I think, is to set up an isometric grid and then either draw the letters using the grid or use the shape builder tool to kind of draw through the shapes. Mark, I've been going through some ideas I had of mixing the letters amongst each other and it just ended up looking busy. For some reason, this one has stuck with me too. I'm guessing you mean that from the previous stream. Yeah, it was an interesting one, wasn't it? It was a really, it was a fun combination. Like that's what I said on the original stream. It was like the execution, like definitely needs more work. But the idea there that they had of combining the word fire and ice, it was a little bit like, okay, challenge accepted. Let's see what we can do with that. It's an interesting one. But I mean, yeah, I mean, just like Stuber says, you know, I didn't expect to get here either, you know, considering where we started off. But it's been fun. Tankman says, first time joining, it was fun exercise. Listening and seeing everyone's ideas was really eye-opening. Oh, amazing. Thanks, Paul. Yeah, cheers, mate. See you later. Thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed it. Okay. Okay, hang on. Let me just whip this up. Let me copy this. So this is something that Ella Grossman has just sent me. Sorry, not Ella. Ellie Grossman has just sent me. I'm just going to paste this in here. That is really cool. That's very clever. So we've got the fire, the I, the R. Is it just me? I can't see the E. And is there the word ice in there? Mike says, however the logo ends up, I will continue to have thicker nightmares. I know. Yeah, we won't talk about that one. You're going to be dreaming about logo design. Himanshu, hello, welcome back. Thank you for joining. Yeah, okay, so just let me know. Is there more to this that I'm seeing? The F, I've got a little bit of an I here and an R. I don't see the E, it's just for the R. Yeah, I mean, I love your approach. That's the kind of types of logos that I really love. That's really clever. But yeah, that's cool. Thank you for sending that. I really like that. I see thicker. Yeah. thicker merch for the early stream crew. Yeah, we'll make a thicker t-shirt and it'll just be an inside joke. Okay, right. I'm going to hop off in a sec. I'm going to carry on with this later on after I've had a break and actually moved my legs. We'll do fire on the top, ice on the bottom. If I can get it looking good, that'll be the first step. The next step will be adding those flames to the top part and then adding the drip effect to the bottom. That will be the icing on the cake, no pun intended, if I can get that looking good. So thank you so much to everyone for your suggestions. I always love doing these. It feels like a real kind of a team effort, and me kind of trying to, like, you know, mostly misunderstanding what you're saying. So apologies, but it's good fun. I love it. Have you tried a lowercase car R instead of the uppercase R, says Raz Karen. No, that is a good point. I will make a note, actually. That's worth considering. Try lowercase, can't spell, lowercase as well, just to see how the letters look, because they may work a bit better, but we'll see. Stubers, cheers Dan, catch you soon. Cheers mate, thank you so much for joining. Akshay, thank you Dansky for applying, it means a lot. Also thanks for pronouncing my name right. Akshay, excellent, good. I'm usually terrible at pronouncing names. Half of the people can't. Love the stream. Oh, amazing. And as I said, guys, if you've got any feedback on the stream, if you found it too slow, too boring, too fast, you loved it, it was great, it was terrible, whatever that feedback is, just please do let me know by commenting on the video after the stream ends, because I do listen. I'm going to take all that feedback and just try and make these streams better and as valuable as possible. That is the goal. You don't need flame, you can make a yin-yang. Possibly, yeah, that'd be quite cool. A kind of fire and ice yin yang. I like that. Let's make a note of that too. Yin yang symbol question mark. Cool. Thanks, Dansky. See you soon. Thank you, Doctor Who Design. You can see I can't even speak now. After 2 hours, my ability to actually verbalize anything is just gone. Thank you so much, Mike. I'll hopefully see you at the next one. But Hanudin says, hi, watch your videos, your tutorials are awesome. Thank you, I'm glad you like them. Graciela says, I love coming up with different ideas. Thank you, Dansky, for doing this today. You are very welcome. Ab says, great stream, bro. Good games. Brilliant. Oh, amazing, guys. Thank you so much to everyone for joining. Oh, this has been fun. Right, so, yeah. I don't know if I've actually announced this properly or not, like officially, but Tuesday at 3 p.m. UK time is going to be the design review stream where I review your work. Thank you to everyone who sent work in, by the way, and then we'll keep the Thursday one for now to actually making stuff. So like this, I'll jump on and create some stuff, and we'll do that for a bit and see how it goes. So yeah. Oh, amazing. Don't feel bad, the stream will be up, so you can rewatch the entire 2 hours, like, comment, share with your friends, just the whole kit and caboodle. Right, I'm going to stop rabbiting. That is me done. Thank you so much to everyone for joining, and I will see you in the next one.